This is in response to Dr. Paul Krugman's article in the New York Times on Monday, February 22nd, 2016, Cranks on Top. Now, he plays a little game here, basically indicating that you wouldn't think that Marco Rubio would be the one who was just throwing out some unbelievable stuff. You'd think it was just Donald Trump. But underneath, when you look at Marco Rubio's positions, they are actually very, very scary. He goes in first to just talk about a little bit his foreign policy in terms of how Rubio basically just wants to bully any foreign policy and thinks that he can do it and get away with it, and that diplomacy is a sign of weakness. And of course, on domestic issues, he refers to Rubio as both irresponsible and ignorant of what's going on. And I would agree with all of that. But again, Dr. Krugman is really an economist, and he really wants to get into what Marco's policies are on that area. One of his ideas, really crazy idea, is to eliminate investment income tax. So the example is, if you make $100 million, if you have $100 million in the bank, and investments in banks, CDs, stocks, bonds, hedge funds, etc., gets you 8 or 9% a year. That means $8 or $9 million to you with no tax whatsoever, 100% scot-free. So, and even though, what was his name again? Romney only had like about a 14% tax rate, then he would have nothing. And of course, nothing on all this. Of course, investment income, I believe, is around 15% right now. And most people would like to see it back up to that investment income would be taxed as the same way as regular income, which I believe is in the 30% range right now. And of course, Marco Rubio is very supportive of the concept that tax cuts pay for themselves. And as I have said many times before, when in history, in the entire world, have tax cuts actually paid for themselves? Because they never have. And this meme of the Republicans, it's unending. It keeps going on. There's no stopping it. So they've never paid for themselves. Dr. Krugman points out a very interesting thing, a very poignant thing, is the last two Democratic presidents, President Clinton, 93 to 2001, and President Obama, 2009 to 2017, both increased taxes on the wealthy. And in President Clinton's years in office, between 22 and 23 million jobs were created. And in President Obama, I believe it's 12 million have been created. But if you look at that, we lost about 2 million right when Obama came in. That would be about 14 or 15 million. Now, Reagan had done about 16 million. Carter did 10 million in only 4 years. But neither Poppy Bush nor George Bush, and they cut taxes. Did they have any? I believe George Bush basically only had about 1 million jobs in his entire 8 years. And of course, this is what Rubio wants to emulate. Papa Bush and W. Bush. Of course, he also wants to have the balanced budget amendment, which is a really ludicrous idea. And to get a balanced budget amendment, you would have to cut out, and he would only cut out domestic spending as opposed to military spending. The big issue that, another big issue that Dr. Krugman points out is when you talk about monetary policy, we're talking about the Federal Reserve, when the Federal Reserve has basically really helped the economy for the last 8 years. The Republicans have had this incredible, and everyone who supports them, this incredible thing that inflation and interest rates are just going to skyrocket around the corner. And of course, they've been saying this since early 2009, and it's never happened, ever happened. And so Marco Rubio is indicating that it's not the Federal Reserve's job to stimulate the economy, whereas that is their job. At the same time, what they have done has basically helped stimulate the economy because they've kept interest rates and inflation down low. And what this is all about is that if you just take a look at Trump, he's appealing to the baseness of those in the Republican party who can't stand government in the first place, and has let's just say a lot of racial animus that's going on underneath. And when you talk about Rubio, he's appealing to the big money elites, because those are the people who will support his campaign. Those are the people he will kowtow to, he will bow to, and those are the people, who's will benefit the most if Rubio gets elected. And the thing is, which one is really scarier, Trump or Rubio? Because as much as Rubio has this angelic type of face, and I have always said that he is very, very slick, and he has a very good speech, but behind it there is a big kowtow to the big money interests. And make no mistake, if he were ever to get elected, he would go hog wild to cutting taxes, to cutting investment taxes, to looking into the balanced budget amendment, and then all the things that's just dumb as dumb can be on the domestic side. And of course, on the foreign side, let's just kill everyone out there who we don't agree with over there, and just diplomacy is just not the way to go. Scary, scary guy.